as the slope formula, how we find slope. We're going to be using it a lot. So we're going to go through some examples using this formula. This will be something you will need to remember if you don't already. I will say a couple things about this formula is that if you forget the order, so let's say you're putting them in this order and you switch the y1 and the y2, that's fine as long as you also switch the x1 and x2. If you switch them both, that's fine. But if you only switch like the top but not the bottom, you'll end up with a negative where you should have had a positive or vice versa. What cannot happen is switching these two. You can't put x's on the numerator because we have to rise our y's before we run our x's. Alright, so let's do some of these examples, starting with number 1. If this helps you, do this. If you don't feel like you need this, you don't need to do this. I'm going to label each of these. So each ordered pair is an xy, so I'm going to label the first one x1, y1, and the second one x2, y2. That's going to help me put these into my slope formula. So y2 would be 3. We are always subtracting no matter what. y1 would be 1 all over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 1. And then we just simplify. So 3 minus 1 would give us 2. 4 minus 1 would give us 3. And then we just want to make sure that says equals m equals at the end. Simplify as much as possible, so like if this we're able to simplify more, we would want to do that at the end. Questions on that one? Let's do number 2, same thing. So we have negative 2 minus 4 all over 10 minus a negative. You're always subtracting no matter what, but when you have a negative and a minus, they're going to come together and make a plus. If you want to change that to a plus, you can, but don't just make them pluses, because then you might get confused. Alright, so let's simplify negative 2 minus 4. Would be what? 2 with negative 6, and then 10 minus a negative 2.
Negative 12.
This is 12.
Oh, why?
Because 10 minus a negative, this comes together to make a plus. So I'll also grab an iPad. And then can this be simplified more? Yes, to.
Is this one also, the negative can be on the denominator, either on the side or on the top, right?
Right. So if you have a negative, it needs to be either in the numerator or out front. Should not be in the denominator. Alright, we'll do a couple more of the regular type examples, and then I'm going to show you some fraction ones. Okay, let's skip to number 5. Same process. We have 9 minus 9 over 3 minus 5. Yes. So here, this is just going to be 0 because these cancel in the top. But whatever the denominator is, it doesn't matter. You still need to do it, show the word. But this all is just going to become 0.
Can the slope be 0?
Yes. That's what we talked about yesterday.
What about number 6? Would it be the same? But it is the denominator.
It's going to be similar, but a little different.
Oh, it's undefined.
It's going to be undefined. So let's still do that work. 5 minus 8 over negative 7 minus negative 7. We'd have -3 over 0. Anything dividing by 0 is undefined. So as we're simplifying, we need to recognize that. Something that could also tell you this is going to be 0 or this is going to be undefined, look at the values. So if your y values are the same, that means when you go to the end, they're going to cancel, it's going to be 0. So y values are the same, 0. X values are the same, undefined. That could help you figure that out, but also do the work as well. Alright, questions on how we find slope in general for 2 points? Now we're going to take it up a notch.
Can you do number 9?
We are going to do one of those, yes. Alright, so let's try number 7. So now it's the same concept, and now we have fractions. You may want to do this like on the side, turn the paper so you have space, or get a separate sheet of paper. So we're still going to need to write this out. So it's going to be 3/4 minus 2/5 all over 1/3 minus 2/3. It already doesn't look nice. You will also need to simplify these. So get common denominators if need be. So for this one, the denominator, we could just simplify that because they have the same denominator. But for the numerator fractions, we have to get those to be the same. What's something they both go into? 20. So if I multiply this one by 5, I can get 20. I'd also have to do that here. Multiply this one by 4, I'd also get 20. So we're going to change that whole top part first. 15 20ths minus 8 20ths. I'm going to leave this as is for right now. Once you have the same common denominator for everything, then you can start to simplify. So 15 minus 8 would give us 7 20ths. And then 1 minus 2, -1. This is still not nice, so we're going to simplify it one more time. We talked about dividing by fractions and how we don't really like dividing by fractions. We end up multiplying by the reciprocal.
Where did you got 720 from?
Say that one more time.
Where did you got 720 from?
15 minus 8.
Oh, that's 15.
Right here.
That was.
Yes, my 5 looks like a J, but it should have been 5. Anyway, here, to simplify this more, we're going to take the bottom fraction, we're going to flip it, and multiply to both pieces.
Wait, what did you do?
Take the bottom fraction, flip it, and multiply it to the bottom fraction and the top fraction.
You mean the 1 over 3? Why
So
didn't
if you do the one piece, you have to do 2 the other.
Why didn't you do 2 over 3?
Why would we do that?
I don't know, because.
Because now this bottom denominator cancels, and then we just multiply it. So these you're going to want to take slow. That way you're not missing any pieces, any parts. Questions on that before we try another one? So the ones that are just fractions, improper fractions or not, you're going to follow that process. But when they're mixed numbers, we have to change them to improper fractions and then do all of that. So there's an added step. I'm just going to scroll down. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing for number 9, and then I'm going to have you guys try 8 and 10. So, just in case we're unaware as to how to change this, I'll show you in the calculator, but I'll also show you by hand. So to change this to an improper fraction, we are going to multiply the 2 and the 3. I forget what these numbers are called. base in the denominator, multiply those, and add whatever that is plus the 2. So 6 plus 2 is 8. Put that over 3. And then we can just put the 1. So I'm just going to rewrite the order pairs right now. Same thing for this one. Multiply 4 and 2, add the 1, so you have 9 over 2. So now we have our improper fractions. Now we can start on the next step. So we're going to have 9 halves minus 1 all over 3 minus 8 thirds. Only part. Only part. Confuse only part.
All of it?
First part, because I went to go get a scrap paper. So.
Okay, so here, change this to an improper fraction. Multiply the bigger number to the denominator. Whatever that number is, add it to the numerator. I'll show this in a calculator in 1 second. In your calculator, if you go into alpha y equals, this one changes from improper fractions to mixed fractions. You would need to have the mixed fraction in there first, which is the second one. What was that? 2 and 2/3. So if I put that in, so alpha y equals go into number 2, put that in, and then alpha y equals go back in, go to number 3, and hit enter. Except that that's not what we did.
Wait, what happened to it?
Oh, was it 1, not 2?
No, like, there was only 1.
Yeah, it's still in here.
Oh.
That usually works. So. Because I don't want that one. There we go. Okay. I think if I put it in, like this. Okay, for that. So if you have it, put it in the mixed number and hit enter, it will put it in as an improper fraction. So either or, do it by hand or do it in the calculator. Okay, so now we need to get common denominators. You have to remember that all whole numbers have a 1 underneath it. It's indivisible. So in the numerator fractions, they both need to be 2. We can multiply this by 2, but what we do to one, we have to do to the other, so multiply this by 2 as well. What would you change this one to? 3. Multiply that by 3, as well as this 3 by 3. So everything is changing. We have 9 halves minus 2 over 2, all over 9 over 3 minus 8 over 3. Subtract. We have 7 halves over 1/3. And then multiply by the reciprocal. Take this number, flip it, multiply that to the bottom and the top.
So you always flip it?
Yes. Because we don't want a fraction within a fraction. So what would be our final fraction?
21 over 2.
That means if I went up 21 and over 2, I'd end up at another point. And keep going. Right? I'm going to show you how you can do this part in the calculator, but you have to do it exactly as I do it, or otherwise you're going to end up with wrong ways. Right. So you're going to hit alpha y equals, go into the fraction. In the top part, you're going to do it again. Alpha y equals, go into the fraction. Then you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and hit alpha y equals, put it as a fraction. So So it should look something like this. So if you put it in the wrong place, it's going to divide weird, divide wrong. And then we have 7 halves and 1 third. So as long as you put them in correctly, you will get the right answer. But if you put any fraction in the wrong part, you will not get this answer. Right. Now, I'm going to have you do these 2 problems, and I'm going to show you how you can check yourself in Desmos and work on other problems in Desmos. Okay. So try numbers 8 and 10. Once you've done those, raise your hand up, I'll check them.
plus 1. That would be 48 plus 1, 49. So
So those are your answers. If you didn't get that far, at least write them down. I will go over the answers
but don't
in 2
forget
seconds.
the 3.
Okay.
Okay. What?
So I will write the work in just a minute. For sake of time, I want to show you how to do this in Desmos so you can be checking your answers. Alright, so everyone open up your iPads, go into Desmos. Now, this works more for not fraction answers, but you can use the fraction ones as well. So let's say we were putting in one of the ones we skipped, like number 3. So I'm going to put number 3's order pairs in here. -4, 5. You can put them in as separate points so you can label them. Or you can put them in all together. It really does not matter. Oh, I forgot. If I put them in all together, they're both going to label the same thing. So you can use the graph, especially on your slope from 2 points, to count. Most of the time, you can count just as it is. If you want to help yourself out a little bit, if you turn off the minor grid lines and make this step 1 for both of these. Yeah. It might make it easier to count. Or you can leave it as you just did. Either or, it doesn't matter. So let's see if this will redo what I said. So this is how it was originally, without the numbers in between. If this is easy enough for you to count from there, you can do that. If you want to, you can also turn off the minor grid lines. And then change the step to 1. And then you can use that to count as well. So this is a check yourself method, not a how I would do this and not show work. So you still have to show work if you're looking for 2 points. But you can use that to check yourself. You could put it in just like you do in the calculator. So you can put it in just like you do into your calculator to find the actual slope as well. Again, that's a check method, not a how I got my answer. Okay. We don't have much time left in class today, but if you want to play around with Desmos for a few more minutes, you can do that while I'm showing the work for number 8 and 10.
This one.
Yes.
I can retake on Monday.
I don't say after on Mondays, but
Tuesday.
or Wednesday.
Okay.
Are you doing it on Thursday?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, yes. If you would like some more practice on the fraction ones on the very back, there are 3. If you would like some more, I also have some more in there. These actually may be the same ones.
Can we get our phone?
Yes, you can get your phones.
Mister, when you're done, can I take a picture of the dog?
Hi, Bartley. Yes.
Go ahead, Barley. No.
Hey, Bartley.
Did you actually understand that? Actually? What did I say?
But put him in here. My stuff.
Honey, did you want to take a picture?
Wait, where do I put it?
For anyone that was checking their
My
answer, this is the work for number 10. Oh, yeah.
Question number 8.
I will do that in 2 seconds. Here. And then the work for number 8. So I will save those so that on Monday we'll go back over those, answer any questions you have.
Are you gonna